text DJ?
Text DJ Golden.
Oh, why are you texting DJ?
To tell him that we got financing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, alrighty. Good to go.
Yeah.
Episode 3.
3.
No more 0.5s going on.
Nope, we're on to the 3. We're making progress.
We're an official podcast.
I don't know if we're official podcast until like 10. Is that the magic number? What's the average podcast?
I think we said last week one episode.
One episode?
I guess there's those podcasts that have about 1,000 episodes, and they probably balance out every podcast that has one episode.
So 6.
Probably 6.
So we got to hit 7.
Okay.
So we're halfway to being like an official
legitimate
podcast.
podcast.
Official, legitimate.
There we go. How long do you think? How many deals does a realtor have to make before they're legitimate?
Oh, man. I think it's a combination of how many deals and how long in the business.
Okay. So you're saying if I'm in the business 12 years and I do 10 deals or 20 deals?
No, it's a combination. Like it's like
okay, an average amount.
You can do like 40 deals in 3 weeks and then burn out and then disappear, fall off the face of the earth. Then you're not a legitimate.
If you do 40 deals in the first 3 weeks of real estate, you're legitimate.
Yeah, you can retire probably.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
no, maybe probably one or the other then. Like once you hit like the 15, 20 deals, I'd say you're legit. Kind of the 2 years under your belt, you're legit.
Okay.
Because what's the average lifespan of a realtor?
1 year. 1.5 years.
1.5 years. Yeah.
Probably the same deal as podcasts.
Yeah.
A lot of 6 months to a year long realtors mixed with lifetime realtors. So
Like really old geezers.
really old geezers.
Yeah.
Jeff's on his way, but
I'm getting there.
all right. There's
Not
my
in the podcast world.
There's my Jeff old joke for the day. So
Perfect.
So what are we talking about today, Jeff?
Okay. Today we're going to talk about mistakes sellers make. So pitfalls in selling.
Yeah. I mean, it should be easy to sell your house, right?
It's always easy, right?
So easy.
So easy.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about what makes it not easy today.
Yeah. What makes it difficult when we're helping you list and sell your property, and also what makes it difficult for us to sell your house. Say you were listed with another realtor, we bring buyers through. What are some of the hesitations or some of the issues that people have? I think we'll avoid pricing today. I think that's a whole nother episode in and of itself, talking about the pitfalls of overpricing, underpricing, how to price to get multiple offers, and just talk more about the actual house and how you can prepare it.
Yeah, so I guess we're assuming that your house is priced properly and you're wondering, why the heck is my house not selling? You told me this is fair market price for my house. Like, what are the things that you can easily or somewhat easily do to improve just the showing ability of your house and just the attractability of your house, I'd say.
Yeah, and the nice thing about a podcast is we can be a lot more brutally honest when we're not sitting. We'll change names
and addresses of people's homes that we're quoting.
Yeah, like it is. It's difficult to address some of these issues. So maybe listen to this. Share with your friends. Maybe you have a friend who's struggling to sell and you see some of the pitfalls we're going to talk about or some of the mistakes. You see them making those mistakes. Yeah, you can share this with them and be like, hey, maybe listen to this. And if your friend shared this with you, they're probably trying to tell you something.
They're trying to give you a hint. We're the passive-aggressive text that your friends are sending you. Okay, so number 1, Jeff, you want to go into our first item?
Yeah, so kind of before listing, kind of that call you make to us 3 months in advance, a month in advance, saying, hey, guys, looking to sell my house. I want to do some updates. I want to reno. Where am I going to get value? Where am I not? First of all, if you haven't done this, maybe you should do it. And if you haven't, if you have done it, these are just some of the things that we can chat with you about. So renos, updates, are they important to update your house? Yes, as far as you're able, I would say update your house. Now, one big area that I would like to address is paint. Sam, what's the first thing you did when you bought this house?
painted the whole stinking thing, and I mean, the shade probably changed from a light beige to a white, and I mean, color palette wise, not super different, but made a huge difference in our house. Made it look way more modern, made it brighter. It was a pain in the neck, but was well worth it for sure.
Yeah. So color was one of the reasons you changed. Why was the other reason you painted? I assume there's another reason.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's like little dings, nick scratches all over the walls and stuff like that. So it is nice. Like regardless, I think we would have had to put a fresh coat of something on there. And also just improving the value of our house too. Painting it white once now, if we can just leave it this color for 4 or 5 years, and the resellability, even the rentability, if we're going, a few years down the road, just in general, it just brought the home's overall, I don't know, feel up a lot nicer. And it was our style. When we moved in, it was that light beige that you see in every rental or a lot of rentals, because, it doesn't nick up or doesn't scuff as easily as white and whatnot, and it's neutral. But at the end of the day, it wasn't our style. So we wanted to put our own touch on it.
So there was a style, but there also was, like, when I walked through this home with you, you could tell it was well loved, well used.
Yeah.
Maybe to the point of being beyond love and abused. So yeah, it had some nicks, it had some scratch, it had some things that you couldn't cover up with just a simple picture.
Yeah.
So
actually, I forgot the master bedroom was chocolate brown, so that was again, yeah. And I think they had freshly painted that, actually. That was their renovated bedroom, and it just wasn't anything that we would ever want to live in. So
yeah. So that is one thing. When we're talking about renos and updates, paints is probably the first place I start. Really, the most you're ever going to make back, probably the highest investment you can make in a property is first cleaning. So, everybody has a different level of cleanliness.
Yes.
I'll be honest. I think I'm decent. I'm a little bit, I think I'm relatively clean, not always organized, but relatively clean.
Yeah. Your office would argue, but
it's clean.
It's clean. It's
just not organized.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but my level of clean is not nearly what my mother's is, and my level of clean is also higher than a lot of tenants is. But the first thing that you can do with your house is clean your house. Yeah. Do a deep clean. Yeah. Do a scrub. What you think is clean, do better. Clean deeper. One of the biggest turnoffs I think I've ever seen is we're getting into springtime and summer. Sometimes ladies and gentlemen show up wearing sandals, right? And there is nothing more awkward when their feet stick to the floor. And it's really bad when you hear their feet, like where it's like that. I don't even know that.
Like, do an ASMR in here in the background or something.
Impose that. But you know what I'm talking about when you're walking and you're like looking at your feet and you're wondering what in the world. The other thing is, like, if I walk into your house and I have to contemplate whether to
take my shoes off or not, we know this is not going well. So the first mistake we see people make is not clean. Yeah. And it can be difficult in a slower market to keep on top of it. One excuse I've heard a lot of people say is, well, we still got to live there. That is 100% true. You got to live there. And you're going to keep living there if you don't clean it.
That's a problem. It's up to you guys to help make that decision. Are you going to make the effort to clean it for every single showing, bust your ear, kind of day in, day out to make sure it's spotless, and hopefully move it sooner than later?
Yeah.
Or are you going to let it go, kind of chase the market down price-wise in order to get someone to like your house? That's
the thing, right? We go into houses where I've been into so many showings where I think it's the right house for the clients. Like, I know what they've been looking for. I've viewed it on the MLS. I've gone and seen it myself, and then I bring them in it, and the first thing is, like, they're grossed out. Like, and there's a thing too where it's like, yeah, if you live in your own mess, like I was a bachelor for a little while, living in your own mess, I get it. You can get messy and you get used to it. It's like going nose blind or whatnot, right? You're blind to your mess, but when other people come in and it's your mess that they're walking in, and other people have different levels of cleanliness too. If you're okay with mess, and then I bring in some clean freaks that would love your house, but it's dirty, it just like they don't even want to walk through it. They want to get out of there as soon as possible, and it just leaves such a bad taste in their mouth, even if they might have loved everything else about the house.
Yeah. So when we're talking about renos and updates, kind of deviated a little bit, but on the cleanliness side, clean everything, wipe out the inside of your cabinets. I know you're going to do it again probably when you move out, but try and make sure those are clean. Clean your oven. You can clean inside your oven door. If you don't know how to do that, ask us.
We learned that as soon as we moved into this house.
Clean the glass on your fireplace. A lot of those are foggy. Most of those, it's pretty easy to get on the back side of that.
Yep.
So kind of do those things. Wipe down the baseboards.
Bathrooms,
Yeah, scrub it.
Clients will pull back the shower curtain to look at the shower. If they're thinking of buying the house, they probably want to look at the shower. And if it's disgusting,
Don't have the big wad of hair.
Or 40 bottles of shampoo along.
Wad of hair is more of a turn off for me.
Wad of hair, it would be gross.
You know, sure, Sam is offended by all the hair products. So
just throw it out when it's 1/10 full. But
so so clean your house. That's probably the best return on value. Second one is paint and then to flooring and some of those things. So rentals and updates. I would encourage people paint your house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you have kids, if you have pets, your house is going to be beat up. Now, I would always suggest that you look at the trends and maybe not go like color of the year, like the pink that is this year or the green last year, but look at the trends. There's a lot of light white houses.
Yeah.
Look at other listings. What are the new builders doing?
Yeah.
You know, what are you drawn to? You know, obviously you need to stay somewhat within your color palette. Make sure that your flooring matches, your cabinets, your countertops, but kind of go towards a color that's going to appeal to the broadest number of people.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we all have our specific tastes and flavors. I like black. Probably shouldn't paint my house black.
Don't paint your house black. Don't be like Sam.
I don't know. I kind of want to paint my house black, but
just repaint it when you sell it.
Okay. I'm never gonna get to. I'm married, so. What about like updates? You know, that are a little more pricey around on the stuff. Do you think those are smart for people to do right before they get their house on the market, or is that one that you would tell people to lean away from a little bit?
Yeah, like it kind of depends. And that's something where I think you can ask us to come in and give you some specific advice. You know, paint's a big one. Flooring's probably the next one. You know, are these carpets good enough or not? Yeah. And I've had people on both ends of the spectrum where they're like, I need to replace this carpet. I go and I'm like, she ain't too bad. Like, bring in a steam cleaner, hire someone, come in, clean it up. You know, you're not going to get back the $6 or $8 grand changing your basement carpet. Other times I've gone in and people are like, carpet's junk, you know, kids have been hard on it, pets have been hard on it, but I don't, you know, we don't want to put the money out, or, you know, that way the buyer can pick their own color. I hear that all the time. Buyer can pick the color of their flooring. Buyer can pick the color of their paint. Buyers don't want to pick their own colors. You know, they want it clean and they want it fresh.
Yeah.
You know, Sam might be the anomaly that actually wants to paint. You know, most people come in and
I didn't want to. My wife wanted to.
They have no desire to paint.
Yeah.
And even if they want to change the color, let me tell you, it's way easier to paint a wall that's been patched properly and painted properly, rather than trying to start from square one.
Prep work yourself and whatnot. Yeah.
So next, you know, the bigger items. Obviously, flooring's a big one. I probably wouldn't say. Generally, I wouldn't tackle a lot of those items.
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest that it's worth your time or your money. Unless, you know, your carpets are really bad, your floors are really beat up. But the things that I think that you should do, and the places where I see people fall, are kind of some of the simple things, like change out your light bulbs.
Yeah. Bunch of burnt out bulbs.
Looks
weird.
The other thing, and maybe it's a pet peeve of mine, is just different colored light bulbs, different temperatures. So if you have like 3 lights here, like Sam does, don't know if you can see them, three pendants over the island.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I see 2 different colored light bulbs.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it
whatever
just
you got in the
looks-
closet.
Just looks shoddy.
Yeah, yeah, and even little things like doors. For me, if a door is really sticky, or if the lock at the front door, like, I mean, usually your realtor's using the key, but if the front doorknob is like real janky and stuff, it's that little stuff that probably doesn't cost you a lot of money, but is, something easy. People will always go and try one drawer, and they're like, oh, it's not soft close, it's not, it's just little stuff like that could add a little bit of value without being, a huge kitchen reno or redoing all your floors or anything like that.
Yeah. And sometimes you can do some little updates, changing out your kitchen hardware, maybe changing out your dining room light, a few of those items, especially if you're in like a 1990s house.
Yeah.
You can really update some of the oak or maple by just changing out the hardware.
Totally.
Spending a few $100 there. Also changing, I think fixtures, changing out light fixtures.
Yeah.
Doorknobs going away from the brass to maybe the black or the brushed nickel.
Totally.
Getting your lights to match. Even Canadian Tire has some really cool lights. Home Depot, Rona, they all have kind of these cool light series. Just changing it out to make it a little more modernized. I'd probably suggest that.
Yeah.
I
think one of the big don'ts is, like, we see so many people that try to be a handyman when they're not, and take on a big reno or something, and do. I mean, I went into one kitchen and she had taken one side of the cabinets and moved them to the other side to make a long, but she just had them all chopped up and never put them together. And she's like, well, it worked for me. And, that's just, no one's going to come in and be like, oh, that's okay, I'll deal with that. And,
know your limitations.
Yeah. When the flooring's all, there's gaps in it, spaces from the wall, trim looks bad.
And no Home Depot lies.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do everything.
Yeah.
Like, there are some things that are better left to the professionals.
Yeah. YouTube teaches a lot, but it has
know your limitations.
Totally.
Yeah. So some of those things, it is one of those things. We have people that sometimes attack major renos and think they're going to get their full money out of it, and they're doing it under the thought that they're going to make more money when they sell.
Yeah.
Call your realtor before you do a bunch of big stuff.
Totally.
On the flip side, do the little stuff. I met with some people not too long ago. They were looking at buying, and while out showing, they said, we just sold our house out of town. The kids wanted to come in and paint and do some stuff, maybe change a little bit of the old flooring in the bathroom. And they said, no, we're gonna let the new buyers do it, because they're gonna want to choose the colors. They're gonna want to do their own thing. And if we do the work, we're gonna have to increase the price. I don't know if it would have been much of a price increase. The funny part is I don't know if it was 5 minutes later, he said, yeah, anything that needs flooring, paint, we're gonna discount deeply. Like,
when they're looking for a house.
Yeah. So their buyers telling me that when they sold their house, they didn't want to do any updates because they thought buyers want to choose their own things.
But then they didn't want to choose anything when they were buying.
No, what's most important to them is that the house was turnkey. They're like, we can do the work, but that's a super big inconvenience to us. Like, where are we going to live during that time? We're not in a physical state where we can do it. So we gotta hire all of it out. So the costs are going to get really high.
The old hypocritical seller, hey?
Well, it is one of those things. I can totally see why people tell themselves that lie. I'd almost say that buyers want to choose colors. Yeah, they do want to choose the colors, but probably more than that, they want something that's nice and clean and fresh.
Yeah, they don't want to look at the rainbow in every different room they go into, because it just, if I'm showing a home to a couple people that have no kids and whatever, and they go in every room and it's pink, blue, red, yellow, and then, the whole house is like some weird off colors and every room's different. It just kind of, it just doesn't show as nicely.
Okay. So spent a lot of time talking about updates.
Yeah. So now that you know how to
ramble on,
how to reno or not reno your house, we're gonna go on to number 2. We kind of touched on it, but this is smells.
Yes.
So
everybody has a smell, no matter if you like it or not.
Yeah, we were talking about before, when you're, when you do a home tour with a bunch of buyers, maybe walk through 8-10 homes, you're like, okay, what stood out about the home? Like Chloe and I with this one: big kitchen home, basement suite home, nice yard home, cat smell home.
Yeah.
You don't want to be cat smell home on that list.
No. Every house does get a name because no one remembers addresses. I name houses. My clients name houses.
Yep.
And what do you name them? The thing that is most memorable to you.
Totally.
And if your house smells, it will inevitably get named the smell of the house.
Yeah.
The bacon house is one of my favorite.
That could be good or bad.
Could be good. Like if we're coming in like on a Friday morning, 9 a.m., like smells like bacon, that might be all right. But like
4 p.m. on a Thursday with vegan clients.
Not going so well. Yeah, especially when the bacon grease is still sitting out.
Oh, yeah.
But it is some of those things like know your smell.
Yeah.
Be cognizant. Don't cook fish before a showing.
Yeah, and I think this one, you can go pretty easily nose blind to the surrounding that you're used to. Maybe get some friends to come in and give you honest feedback. Hey, especially you got animals or you got whatever. Yeah. If there's an older smell, sometimes the basements will smell a little bit dingy. Sometimes little things like that, and just putting some air fresheners in. I took my clients to an acreage showing the other day, and they had a vanilla bean candle lit in the living room, and they had clearly freshened the place up. And it was just like we walked in and we had just looked at a really dumpy place the day before. We walked in this one, I was like, whoa. Like instantly my clients were like, we want to like this house. Like,
yeah,
so it seems kind of small. And you can always tell clients, you can get the smell out and it'll change once you move in. But it's that initial reaction to the house. If you instantly want to like the house or if you want to dislike the house based on that initial reaction.
Yeah, buyers use all their senses. So we talked a little bit about touch. Like if your floor feels sticky, your countertops feel sticky, that's a red flag. If they walk in and they smell something that's off, they're not going to like it. One thing that a lot of people love is their pets, but one thing that nobody loves is somebody else's pet. If someone smells pets in a home, especially if they have any sort of allergy or any sort of dislike of animals,
Totally. Yeah.
Deals off.
Yeah. It's just, like some people can overlook a smell, but a lot of people get really turned off by a smell. So it's something that's smaller. And, I've been in houses where they have pets clearly and it smells great. It smells fine.
Yeah.
And I've been in houses where it looks like there hasn't been a pet there for a while and it still smells horrible. So, there's ways to mitigate this, and that's definitely something you can talk to your realtor about. If you don't know how to get a certain smell out, we've got tips and tricks. But yeah, it's totally worth it. Not a huge cost, but a little bit of effort, and it goes a long way.
So with that, there's the other extreme as well. Your house can smell too pretty. Yeah, in a bad way.
Smells like it's hiding something.
Yeah. So Sam was talking about like air fresheners and stuff. He mentioned that one house that had a single candle lit. That's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for like those that one candle, a little bit of scent through the house.
Not the Febreze that's attacked the entire home
the 14
5 minutes before
plugins.
You got in there.
Like when I leave the house and I can still smell the air freshener on me 3 houses later, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So yeah, ask a friend, ask a family member, say pop in, do a little walk about my house. What do you think smell wise, look wise? Be brutally honest with me. If you ask your realtor to be brutally honest with you, they'll probably go halfway. So, whatever they say, if they're saying maybe you should do this, that's probably you really should do this.
Yeah. We want to be honest with you, but we also want you to still like us and be friends with us. So
yeah.
Hard to know the line, but if
you're
ever
balance.
Yeah.
So as well, we're getting into the spring season. So something that I encourage people, open your windows, get a little bit of fresh air going through. Nothing smells better than fresh air unless you live next to a feedlot.
Unless you're in Bezanson and it's cow smells.
Bezanson smells great.
Just cows drifting over to your
place.
place.
Cows are fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, get some fresh air in. Get it smelling good. Know your smell. Know that you have a smell and take care of it.
There we go. And, we'll just talk about your house smell. Your own smell can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3?
Declutter. Get rid of stuff.
Just get rid of everything.
Yeah. The reality is, again, there's that comment, but we got to live here. while we're showing the house, while we're selling the house? Yes, you do, but I bet you have way more stuff than you need. What's the problem with clutter?
Well, whenever I go to show a rental property, I always give my clients a heads up, because chances are renters have a smaller space, they have a lot of stuff in there, and they don't really care if the house sells. So they will leave their stuff all over the place. So when you tell your clients, just imagine that nothing's here, but there is stuff literally everywhere. It is very hard for our clients to get a picture of their stuff being in that house, of their flavor being in that house, of them seeing themselves actually living in a space that is just covered. Like literally, I've been in a house where there's garbage all over the living room floor. There's 2 dogs. There's pee all over the floor next to the puppy. And then there is garbage on the floor. And it's just, that's an extreme case. But when you go into someone's house and all you see is, like pictures everywhere, drawings that their kids did. We love kids' drawings, of course, but when they are all over the walls in every room, it's just a little overkill, and it makes it a little bit harder to take in what the house is going to offer when you're completely moved out of it.
Yeah, and stuff on the walls, like people get distracted.
Yeah.
Like, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I have ADD or what's going on. But all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, pictures. Oh, do I know this family?
Yeah.
Oh, do I know that kid? That kid in the same class as my kid? They both play basketball together. And then we start going down some tangent. Rather than talking about your house, we're talking about your kid who won a basketball award. And when I was in grade 3, how I made a basket from the 3-point line and
you never made a 3-pointer.
Hey, yeah. Anyway, see, things go off on tangents. So clean up your walls, kind of limit. Some people say take down all personal items. At some point, we still want people to feel at home in your house.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be. I think some stuff on the wall is better than completely stark walls.
Totally.
But yeah, let's limit it. Let's take down some of those things. If you have a wall with like 40 pictures of all your family, people are going to spend 10 minutes looking at your family photos and like 4 minutes looking at your house.
Yeah.
Another issue with clutter is it makes areas feel small. So most houses in Grand Prairie have small entrances. Most people I show are more than a couple, more than 2 people. If we can't fit in your front entry with all your shoes and coats,
take some of them away.
Yeah. It's really hard in winter. I understand that, but that's probably the worst season, when we're trying to get out of the freezing cold into a house, and we physically can't fit 3 to 5 people in your entryway without either falling down the stairs or like stepping off the rugs. I would say try and declutter your space a little bit. Remove some coats, move some boots and shoes. Anything that's out of season, get rid of. Box it up, put it away. Make sure there's space. Also, with that, put a second entry mat down. Giving people space to walk in with 2 groups, because if it's a skinny little mat, I come in and instantly I'm like, okay, should I put my wet boots on your nice floor or stay on the mat and have my clients stay in the cold while I take off my boots as quickly as possible? And it just creates a really awkward start to a showing. Every house that has a nice entryway just starts nicely. You open it up, you have lots of room for 6 people to come in. I mean, that's rare that a showing will have 6 people, but if you have room for 6 people to come in, it instantly is just like, wow, this is refreshing, because the 4 houses I saw before this didn't fit all 6 of us here. Yeah.
So
the entry is one spot that feels small. Bedrooms can feel small. So if you have lots of furniture, maybe limit that furniture, take some out. I would say take stuff out of your closets, take stuff out of your playrooms, take stuff out of your kitchen. Start boxing up things. If you're committed to moving, you know that you're going to price your house right. You know you're going to stage it right. That means you're moving.
Yeah.
So start acting like it. Start boxing things up. If you're selling right now in spring, box up all of the winter clothes. I guess it's not May yet, so leave out 1 coat.
Yeah, keep your winter tires on 1 more week.
But it is one of those things, like start boxing up seasonal items.
Yeah.
I was just talking to some friends. We did a deal on their house. So last night we were talking. They're like, we've just boxed up all of our kids' stuff. They all got to keep out 3 toys. And
3 toys.
Yeah, they're like, they're as happy as can be with 3 toys. Like, it was a little painful, like during the box up session, but once they got them, they're like, they're playing with those 3 toys and everything's fine.
Forgot about those toys. So then,
Yeah.
yeah, and even if you gotta live there, and there might be a longer possession date where you have to live in that house in the next 3 months, maybe just have a Rubbermaid bin where you can put all your kids' toys in right before a showing. I know it's not easy to clean up every single day after your kids, but like when a showing's booked, put all your kids' toys in a Rubbermaid bin, put the bin in the garage, or
throw it in the basement.
Exactly. If you have to have all your work stuff
wherever.
out because you work from home, like just pack up your little office, have a bin that it goes in, something like that. Yeah. Just minimizing. It just makes everything feel nicer, show nicer. Yeah.
Yeah, people when they walk through a house, I don't know how many times parents have said to kids, when we move in this house, your bedroom's going to look like this. You're going to make your bed, right, little Johnny? Yeah. And then one time I had a husband who said it had the audacity to say, and your kitchen's going to be clean like this, honey. And he got a little.
Did she ask if the garage was going to be clean?
Yeah. But it is one of those things. As much as you're selling a house, you're selling the idea of what it's like to live there.
Totally.
So if it's crowded, if it's cluttered, the sellers are going to feel the buyers are going to feel like this house is difficult to keep clean.
Yeah.
This house is difficult.
And odds are, it'll probably end up looking like that 6 months later when they're in it, but they want to imagine it being the clean house, being the nice house. Again, it's just other people have different levels of cleanliness. People have different things that gross them out. So just as little clutter as possible.
Yeah.
Always goes a long way. And that's something that's free, That's not putting in new flooring or doing anything like that. You're spending no money, just a little bit of time. And it'll go a long way.
In the declutter thing, one more piece of advice. We know everybody's an individual,
Mm-hmm.
and they have their stances on things, and they have different thoughts. Save it. There are people get offended pretty easy by either political statements, nudity,
religious statement, all that kind of stuff.
It's something. If you have something a little passive, such as a cross or something that you have up, or a crucifix, but when we have things like
I went and did a show the other day, and it's a young family, and the basement there was like a death metal poster with like a nude demon lady, and it just they like took their kids away and told them to go upstairs, and it just kind of turned them off of the basement. So it's just stuff like that. If it's a bold statement, if it even if you feel like all your friends like it and it's whatever, if you're showing your house, there's people from all different demographics they'll be looking, old people, young people, people of different backgrounds. So anything that's a statement piece, maybe just tuck it away, save it for the next house.
Yeah, it's that recognition that whatever statement you're making, you might be offending someone else.
Totally.
And, and some of it's just respecting others, but sometimes it's also just recognizing that you're trying to appeal to as many people as possible.
Totally.
If you take out 20-30% of the market because you're making a statement, that's going to make it more difficult for your realtor to sell it. So just keep that in mind. And again, try and have pictures with people with clothing on. That gets difficult. I don't know if I've ever had one that's gone well when we've walked into a garage or opened up a door and saw.
If it's an 18+ showing, it probably doesn't appeal to a lot of people. So.
Yeah. So take her down.
Alrighty. So number 4 on our list is staging / just getting your house ready, kind of the final touches.
Yeah. So we kind of addressed this. We've talked about the cleaning. We've talked about declutter. That kind of goes with the staging, getting ready. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I tell my clients to do, my seller clients, something that I've done myself when I go to sell a house, is I walk out of the house by myself or with my wife or whatever, and then I walk in. And what's the first thing my eyes are drawn to? Is it something positive? Is it something negative? It doesn't even necessarily need to be the house itself. It could be, an heirloom table or something like that is tasteful. If my eyes are drawn to it and if it's a positive thing, that's great. Then I go to the next room and the next room and the next room. And it's just taking captive what your initial thought is, or what's the first thing your eyes are drawn to. And is it positive or negative? If it's something negative or something that's indifferent, maybe try and see if you can switch it to something that's positive.
Yeah.
Maybe take down that picture that is, your eyes are drawn to, but that might distract from
some other nice feature.
Some other nice built-ins that you have there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I would say take some time, walk through. It also works really, really well if you have a good friend who's honest.
Yeah.
Um,
We all need this honest friend that we usually don't like inviting over when we're trying really hard to make our house look good, but they're helpful when you need
Yeah.
an honest opinion.
the other thing is staging.
Yeah. Yeah, like when your home's so, a lot of times we'll see people, they'll buy a house and they can move out of their own house before selling it. And then their house is empty. And, an empty home is, I always like it when I'm going to show. One, you don't have to arrange for the family to get out. And two, sometimes though, a vacant home can start having dust on it, can start getting dusty, can start looking like it hasn't been lived in. And also when it's a used home, it starts to, when it is vacant, you see some of the flaws in it. Maybe
Yeah.
some of the holes in the wall, some of the
Scratches
scuffs
in the
and
floors.
scratches in the floor. So yeah, it's just staging it and asking a realtor about possibly getting it staged for you or what that would cost and things like that. Sometimes it's totally worth it. You go in a home and the living room is just done up perfectly by a professional with a nice floor rug, nice coffee table, a couple chairs, and it just feels like wow. Like I always have clients that say, "This is a Pinterest home." And sometimes people do that, like that's just when they're living there with their kids. They still have a Pinterest style home, and sometimes people will pay a stager to make their home look like a Pinterest home, and that does go a long way. That's how people will say they'll go back the cat smelling home, the big kitchen home, the Pinterest home, and that's always where you want to be on that list. So yeah, sometimes it is just an investment that's totally worth it if your house is gonna be vacant for a month or two.
Well, and even if it's not vacant, I would say that it's still valuable to stage, your lived-in home.
Yeah.
The reality is, lots of us live with what's convenient, not always with what's most beautiful.
That's very true.
So it is one of those things. Look at your furniture layout. Look at your furniture. Does it look good? Does it embrace the
with
best
everything.
part of the room?
Yeah.
I went to a house. They had a beautiful wood fireplace, but they put the couch directly in front of it because A, they were scared their kids were going to light fires, and B, they felt that the room laid out better that way. I'm like, you are totally covering a beautiful feature of your home, so let's move that.
And it could be totally convenient for them living there, but as soon as someone else walks in there, they might be like, hey, I don't need the TV wall. I'd way rather look at the fireplace.
And don't hear me wrong and say we got to go out and buy all brand new furniture.
Yes.
But sometimes buying a piece or two goes a long way. If you have a big wood floor and you don't have any area rug, I would say get something that's warm. Maybe you have, a couch is starting to get a little old. Maybe you want to go grab some throw pillows, maybe a bit of a real nice blanket to throw on top just to kind of freshen it up. Maybe get a side chair, something like that. So, spending a few $100 going to, HomeSense, Winners, even Costco, getting one or two pieces just to kind of help your space along is probably well worth it. And again, those things we're able to give you advice on. If we walk through and we're like, yeah, maybe you should get a piece like this. You can even, send us some pictures or if you're a good Facebook marketplacer or Kijiji, like you can find some pretty sweet deals on there, pieces that you can either do a little bit of work to that are nice, or just nice pieces. So it is one of those things. Again, you're selling the idea of what it's like to live in this house, and even though you're taking all your furniture with you 99.9% of the time, people still want it to look nice and for them to feel like, this is home. This is nice.
100%. Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the last item on our list, item number 5, and that is curb appeal. So, even before people have come into your entrance and had that little awkward shuffle where we're trying to get our wet boots off, what is our very first thought of your house? And, this is one that's, you might think, okay, well, I'm not going to re-side my house when I'm just going to go sell it. We bought this house because it got re-sided, and I mean, it's definitely an expensive fix, and so I'm not saying that everyone should go and do that, but just having your driveway shoveled in the wintertime, that is a great start. When I got to walk through 6 to 8 inches of snow with my clients, and they're not wearing boots, that's not a great start to a showing.
Yeah, curb appeal is massive. And it's hard because I would say 7-8 months out of the year, either we're in snow or we have no
we
tree.
got muck yards and
muck yards or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the reality is if you can make your house look good from the get-go, one, you're going to get more people to walk through the door. And two, you're going to have people, when they arrive, be excited to go in.
Totally. If they like the outside of the house, they're gonna want to like the inside of the house, and vice versa too, right? And I even just think of the front yard being mowed. House in town, that's easy enough. I went out and showed an acreage once, and I think about 6 acres were mowed, and like my clients were just we walked the entire property because they were just like.
Alternatively, I know you've been through acreages that look like they've been abandoned.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're trying to figure out which part is the yard and which part is just land, and it's where's the property line, and it's all waist deep grass or weeds or whatever, it's just like it goes a long way, and especially for those acreage properties, right? Like people are buying it because they want land, they want to be secluded, they want to have something to be proud of. And so like I went and showed a place, and it had like one of the nicest gardens. I think they won awards for that garden, right? Out in the bowl. They were very proud of their landscaping, and it showed, and my clients loved it, and it upped the value. So I'm not saying if you're not into landscaping and you haven't done anything, don't go spend 30-50 grand on landscaping, because you probably won't get that money back out.
No, but it's the simple things, like in going back to in-town houses, maybe the first ones to rake your yard, to get it aerated, try and get the grass green, sweep, wash your driveway, stuff like that. If you have a gravel driveway, I've told people like get a little load of gravel dropped off, rake on new gravel, like make it look fresh.
Yeah.
That's very important. Wash the outside of your home, pressure wash, wash by hand, make sure your windows are clean. Do some of those things. If you don't have the skills or you're not sure where to start, you can talk to us. Again, it's not super expensive to get people out to do some of those things, to stain your front porch.
Yeah.
A lot of these are summer, spring activities, so they're really good to take on right now.
Yeah.
And if you are thinking like maybe next winter I'm going to be selling, get on some of those activities like staining your deck, washing, cleaning your eaves stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, it's the same deal too. If you're putting up Christmas lights, maybe don't do super aggressive style that only you think is cool. But if you do something really simple, some really nice Christmas lights, some people might really appreciate that, and make sure to turn those on before people show up. Even the backyard, like just if your house is vacant, maybe send someone over to mow it every 2 weeks or something like that, or to shovel your driveway in the winter. Because it's those little things where it's like, yeah, it's nice to come in and see an empty home that doesn't have anything in it, but if it's got dust on it, the grass it just feels like it's abandoned rather than vacant.
And it feels like nobody wants it.
Totally.
So it's hard. If nobody wants your home, why would they want your home?
Yeah.
So if you love your home, you show that you love it inside and out, I think you're going to get top dollar. We could probably ramble on for hours and hours on things you should do, things you shouldn't. There's probably stories that we can tell you about when we stepped in dog crap and it smelled all day and our clients were, kind of turned off and stuff. But, I think hopefully you got a bit of an idea here. Like there's lots of things that you can do that take nothing but a little bit of time and effort.
Totally. And hopefully, if we just brush the surface on, maybe a specific reno that you're thinking of, or some ways, like just some ideas to do these things, just, these are great things to reach out to us and have talking points where you're like, hey, I saw that you said to declutter my home, but I have these items. Do you think I should, and just getting your realtor's advice, that's what we're paid for. That's, a whole part of our the reason why we're valuable. So, pick our brains, ask us these questions. We love to talk about them, obviously.
You bet.
And
quick recap, do the small renos, do the things that are going to make a difference. If your walls are bad, get them painted.
Yep.
Clean your house really well.
Yep.
Deal with any smells. Ask a friend or a neighbor, or even your realtor, how does my house smell?
Yeah.
Deal with smells.
Declutter. Take everything out of there, as much as you can without it looking completely empty, but just enough where you can still live there comfortably, but no one's going to be, trying to step over your toys or try to get a glimpse of your walls or just gets distracted looking at your family photos.
Yeah, make it feel like there's lots of space in your home.
Totally.
Yeah. Do a little bit of staging. Make sure that your furniture is laid out appropriately.
Yeah.
That your table's pulled out into the dining area rather than against the wall. Things kind of like that. Ask us about, maybe getting one or two pieces. Again, bounce off the ideas with your realtor so you maybe don't jump.
Don't go buy a whole couch set before that. And then lastly, just curb appeal. That's just the first impression and the last impression of what people have of your house. Our house was freshly sided, and when we drove up to it and when we left it, we were proud of it, and we still are proud of it, and we're excited where our house was built, back before my dad was born, I think, but it looks fresh and new right now. It's got dark blue vinyl siding, and we love to call it home. So work on that.
So call us.
That is what this podcast is about. Give us a call.
Ask some questions.
Chat with us. Do your version of this podcast with us, and we'll just keep bringing what knowledge we have, telling stories.
Let us know if there's anything you want us to hear about.
Yeah.
Anything specific, anything you want us to dive in a little farther here.
I think we still got, 10, 20, 30 ideas for podcasts, but we love to make it what you guys want to hear. And if there's specific parts of, the home building trades or something, and we want to have guests on, things like that, do that in the future. But just thanks for listening. Shout out Grandma Max. I saw that crib board. Crib board looked good.
Yep. Yeah. Maybe we'll give out a crib board down the road.
There we go.
Just keep listening.
To our 1,000th subscriber. Or
Done.
10th. Or 100th. Okay.
Out.
Bye.